Hey, I finally got that haircut, the results of which are, well, it's pretty good considering it was free, and it's been a lot worse in the past. So, at the time of recording this, my previous review has gotten the least amount of views in ages, so if you're watching this and you haven't seen last week's one, now's your chance. Except for you, Sam, watching these videos at work. I have no idea how you get away with it, but, I'm jealous. No, but seriously though, I appreciate your support, and, well, yeah, I haven't really got much else to say, so let's jump right into this review, shall we? Season 9 has been pretty good so far, all things considered. I'm really appreciating the more varied approach to the Earth-based stories this season. It was getting a bit dry there for a while, but in today's story, we're gonna get wet. I mean, shut up, you know what I mean. The Sea Devils is a 6-episode serial which sees the return of the Silurians, kind of? You remember the Silurians from Season 8, don't you? Well, these are their underwater counterparts. From here on out, I shall be referring to them as the Fish People because I just really like that reference and think it's funny.
I blame the fish people. Oh, so fish people.
Last time around, the Doctor attempted to broker peace between the Silurians and the humans after they wanted to take over the world and wipe out humanity, before eventually getting blown up by the Brigadier. This time, however, the Doctor attempts to broker peace between the Fish People and the humans after they want to rule the world and wipe out humanity before eventually getting blown up by the Navy. Wait a second. Obvious familiarity aside, it's not all copy and paste though. This time around, the Master is heavily involved, manipulating his prison warden into allowing him to just wander free of his captivity and further manipulating the Fish People into convincing them to wipe out humanity. This time, he's just doing it to be petty. It's like, oh, you like this planet so much, Doctor? Well, screw you, I'm gonna get the fish to wipe you guys out. Yeah, what are you gonna do about that? It's good to see the Master again. I really like this original incarnation a lot more than I thought I would. The plot isn't particularly original, it's nothing you haven't seen before, but what sets this one apart from most is its nautical setting. There's a lot of unique locations used for filming, which makes for great visual variety, with the production team actually going so far as to work closely with the real-life Royal Navy. There's even the sneaky bit of quirky camera work here and there. It may just be a slight tilt to the camera angle, but that does go a long way at adding to the suspense to the scene. There's not much left to say about the story, other than it does take quite a while to get going. Like, the main focus is established in part 1, then it takes a further 4 episodes for things to really get going again. When watching it for the first time like I was, it might not seem like it to start with because stuff is always happening, but when looking back in hindsight, it's a lot of wheels spinning in motion while nothing's really progressing, just waiting for the fish people to show up again. And when they do, it's super goofy in the best way possible. I like these designs a lot more than whatever that O-face Silurian thing was. Even though it's blatantly obvious that it's just a massive bit of headgear propped up on somebody's shoulders. Like, there is no reason the neck should be that tall. I tell you what, it would have been a massive undertaking for the time, but if the eyes blinked and the mouths were a bit more articulate, maybe have the gills wiggle a bit, that would have looked incredible. Maybe that's kind of what they do in like the modern series Legends special, but I am a long way from getting there. Alright, as always, a few things of note. The Doctor's sonic screwdriver is used to detect mines in a minefield and also set them off to explode later. Nothing too outrageous, but I just like to keep track of all the sonic screwdriver uses. The Master does the good old one-chop takedown, which, you know me, I love that goofy sci-fi cliche. The actual method in which the Doctor attempts to broker peace between the fish people is with delicate high fives. I mean, it's a slight exaggeration, but that still made me laugh. Oh, the soundtrack and sound effects are way too loud. Like, we're talking having to lower the TV volume from 20 down to 5 during that final confrontation. Maybe it was a bit worse because I had to use the good old broken Daily Motion website, but I can't imagine it being much better on a DVD or Blu-ray. It's funny, because there's even a special mention given to the experimental electronic soundtrack on the Wikipedia article for the serial, but I just think it's bad. To start with, The background music doesn't seem too distracting, but very quickly transitions into what feels like a random assortment of techno noises played at random without much of a beat or rhythm. Last two notes. Spoiler alert for the end of the story if you care, but the Navy, should I say, arrive to help, and they absolutely demolish the fish people with minimal casualties. They roll up and immediately start blasting, and fish people start dropping. It really goes to show just how bad UNIT are at their jobs. No wonder Torchwood was created. And saving the best till last, this is the first proper use of my personal favourite, most iconic science fiction line. The Doctor finally mentions reversing the polarity of the neutron flow. I have no recollection of the story I was watching the first time I heard that, but I vividly remember the third or fourth Doctor saying that line and thinking it was just so nonsensical and science fiction-y that it stuck with me for decades. Reverse the polarity of the neutron flow is the most science fiction thing I could possibly think of, and I love it! I'm gonna feel like a right fool if it turns out it was a different Doctor that said that when I watched Doctor Who for the first time way back when, but, we'll get there one day. And that is that. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope everyone enjoyed. Special shout out to Clicks584 for being so polite, and feel free to tune in next week while I review Doctor Who The Mutants, a DVD I paid 28 New Zealand dollars for in 2022, so it'd be a real shame if it didn't work for some reason.